Do they actually need any introduction? Come on, guys. So yes, today we're talking about the Coleco Gemini, which was the first eruption into the many years of depression. Well, not quite that many years. It wasn't quite the Great Depression with Underground Railroads and all that crap. Today we're going to be talking about the Atari2600's clone, the Gemini video game system. As you can notably notice, it's very sleek and looks very, obviously, well, simplistic and ugly at the same time. It looks good, but yet it looks ugly. It's like it's like a child you just gotta love anyway. Some notable comparisons and similarities to the Atari 2600 in every modern way. This, of course, was the first generation for many clones of the Atari 2600. But either way, it came with many games, about 3 games, Mousetrap and Donkey Kong, which of course is one of the few systems that, of course, had a Nintendo product attached to it before Nintendo decided, you know what? These jerks are making my game look bad, so therefore, I'm going to make our own console and, of course, save the day. As you can probably see here in the bottom of the cart here in the yellow lettering, it says Sears Video Arcade, which is basically that in a nutshell. Well, or licensed a little bit differently and looks a little bit altered. iMagic and all that came out with their own several game cartridges and all that in games. Because due to the fact a lot of copyright and all that stuff was voided, it made it so effing funny that a lot of these companies got away with murder practically. But people noticed one thing. The controller looks really bad. Well, for me, quite frankly, I think the controller looks good. I don't see what people's problem is with it. Basically a long version of the Atari 2600 controller, which of course this is a Gemstick third-party controller, which is either way very good and handles just as great as the Atari 2600 controller. However, the controller is quite uncomfortable. And of course, it kind of breaks off into the whole 5200 and, of course, the ColecoVision, which, of course, was released about the same year, about 2 years difference from the Gemini. The controller had a very uncomfortable feel to it because of the grips to it. I had to improvise and customize it myself by putting a pencil/pen rubber grip. The way it actually felt right when I was holding it, because it kind of hurt my fingers messing with this thing. Similarities also go as far as bold as day as the RF cable. You guys notice right here, it's the same exact thing and the same exact head. It's a little back butt end. It's exact same cord, you are correct. It's nothing different, and the way you unplug this from the system is actually literally going inside the console, unscrewing it, and plugging it out like that, because there's a little RF plug inside this system. It just, they kind of wanted to make it more discreet and how it looks. Gemini. You guys can compare this to the Coleco Gemini as well as the Coleco Gemini to Atari 2600. It'd say, yeah, these are practically the same system, just the Coleco Gemini is more smaller and discreet. Very true. The problem that, of course, Atari 2600 had, and I felt like Atari kind of screwed up on the way down to hell, was they made their systems way too big. Obviously, of course, the Atari Junior looked sleek and sexy later on, and the 7800 looks sleek and sexy on its way out. Felt it obviously was a very bad thing in the first place that they made these consoles that freaking big. The 5200 is marked as being one of the biggest home consoles in the entire existence of game consoles. I just don't want to go into detail because that's really not part of this segment, but either way, it's just like, holy crap! Assuming and asking, well, what kind of power did it use? Well, simplistically as it's put, it uses the same exact power supply as the Atari 2600. Exact that it's literally the same plug and everything, just obviously relabeled, and looks kind of cool. This console plug, of course, is kind of dangerous and prone to electricity sparks everywhere. I've encountered this a couple times. It's not as safe as you would assume. Spark, and it could potentially start a fire. Is maybe because of bad wiring, I don't know, but this is like basically a brand new plug. It's barely been used other than me playing a couple of games. So it just feels kind of unsafe for me to use a plug like this. It was kind of insecure. Consoles are equally great due to the fact it's practically the same system, just named the Coleco Gemini, and the Atari 2600 just looks like a wood grain freaking George Foreman grill with obviously no freaking case on top of it, and yeah. The Coleco Gemini was a fantastic clone. It wasn't changed the world, but it was an interesting way in gaming history that, of course, also brought it down for a while. Third-party companies ran amok. Companies like Mattel and freaking iMagic just running amok, destroying everything and making things look like, well, doom and gloom. Atari still had their kickback with the obvious game program cartridges, like obviously Combat. Okay, let's cut the crap. You have a lot of explaining to do. No bullshitting time.